All right, I've been sitting here a minute trying to coalesce my words in my brain, and they're not doing it exactly. And I think why is because this album, Additional Thoughts for 3001 Laced Odyssey by Flatbush Zombies. There's something about this album that it just takes me back. It takes me back to when I was 18, 19, living in the Central Valley, and the summer is over and the winter isn't fully in yet. Kind of around this time frame, end of October, November, it's getting colder. And there was always this like smell in the air. When it changed, when the weather would change in the Central Valley. And those of you who are from the Central Valley of California, you probably know what the hell I'm talking about. But that period of time in my life, 18, 19, was tough because I was going to community college, but basically just wasting my time, spinning my wheels. I didn't really have any future in front of me. I could be farming on my grandpa's, my dad's uncle's farm, but I hated farming, and it's a lot of hard work. There wasn't a lot of money in it, and just no direction. And I remember that one fall, I must have been 18, or maybe I was 19. I don't know. I joined the military when I was 19, and I went in November of that year. But I remember just having this ache, just this dull, listless ache in me. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How is all of this going to play out? I don't know. Just a lot of questions, not a whole lot of answers. And this album, this 3001 Laced Odyssey, man, I swear to God, I wish I had this back then. I would have listened to this just over and over. This album, man, it's such a perfect companion to how I felt 25 years ago that it brings those emotions back when I listen to it in a very good way, And it's hard to pin down why. This is why I've been sitting here for a minute trying to get my thoughts all together, because I don't know why. That's always the fascinating question. Listen to these songs, listen to these albums, and they give us certain feelings, and it's like, but why? And sometimes that answer is just, you can't quite grab it. Like, you can feel it, but as soon as you try and like squeeze it together into a thought, it just kind of blows away, right? Now, my favorite part of I love Bounce, but my favorite part of the album, Fly Away, Ascension, Smoke Break, Trade Off. Those 4 songs, oh my God. I was listening to those 4 songs so many times, I kind of started to forget about Bounce, because Bounce is a great track too. I really like Bounce. This Is It is another favorite of mine. But those 4 songs, man, Fly Away through Trade Off. And with Trade Off specifically, God, the opening verse where there's that high-pitched note that kind of comes in and it hangs over the vocals, and then there's just that do 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 do. Love that. I mean, I fucking adore that, and I can't explain why. The only thing that comes to mind, and it doesn't answer the why, but it at least pairs with something else, is there's another song I really like. It's by the group called the Lumineers, and they have a song called The Dead Sea. And they have a live performance of The Dead Sea. I think it's for like the radio station KEXP or something like that. If you look up Lumineers Dead Sea live, you'll find one where they're on like kind of like smaller stage. And the video starts out with like this piano bit. And they're going through the song. And in the recorded version of the song, there's this part where he kind of does this little vocal flourish. And on the live performance, there's a longer pause there. He kind of does it, and then they stop. And then he like accentuates this vocal flourish, and everyone kind of laughs, and then they continue on with the song. And right after that, when they drop back into the song, the cello comes in with this one note, and it's just beautiful. I don't know why it strikes me so much, why I love it so much, but God. And so Trade Off, that note, for me is very much in that space. This just special sound for whatever reason, man. It clicks with me. Love it. Absolutely love it. I love the back half of Ascension, where it just kind of drops into this chill hand drum piano bit. I was thinking of how to describe this album, and the only thing I could come up with is just like this calm fear. That's the only way I can describe it. This calm, it isn't terrifying. It's kind of creepy. It's not depressing. It's not, it doesn't evoke for me like strong emotions one way or the other. The only strong emotion is this, just like this dull ache, but it's just cool. It's really cool. Oh, I have another note here too. There's something about that siren sound that persists throughout the album, and how it's kind of subtly but slowly being twisted and distorted further and further as you just keep going on. And I think that's what I love so much about This Is It, is that song towards the end of it basically, I kind of consider that the end of the album. I mean, your favorite rap song is on there too, but it almost feels like tacked on, you know? It feels like the trip ends after This Is It. But that final track, especially with that distant, distorted siren just kind of floating around in the background. After hearing that all the way through the album, it gives me this feel of this thing. It's gone and it's different, but it's gone, but it's not gone, and it's totally changed, but it's still exactly what it's always been. And I feel like that pairs so well with this whole melancholy, lots of questions but no answers, and in this feeling of, you know, what do I do and where do I go and what's going to happen, and not like to be full existential crisis dread type of thing, not that, but just kind of life in general. You know, sometimes you get in that space where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Why does this even matter? Like you just, all these questions, you know? And so this album, man, it's just a great companion to that. For whatever reason, somehow, for me personally, it captures that, especially that middle bit. Oh my God. Fly Away, Ascension, Smoke Break, Trade Off. So good. Now, I saw a lot of comments talking about, where was it? Better Off Dead is apparently better. But it also seems like maybe it's more of like a horrorcore type of album, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not like wildly interested in that, but I'll have to check that out too. I guess that was an earlier album, and this was like their first label album. I don't know. I don't know all the details behind that. People told me, and then I forget. Anyway, just a cool ride. I'm really glad I sat down with it. Every time I put it on, I just enjoy it so much. And it's kind of fun because for an album that does take me back to a time when I was much younger and a lot less road in front of me in my life, like wondering where the hell all this was going to go. It's cool to be here now and look back and think back where at one point there was no path in front of me, and now I can look back and see exactly where it all went, you know? And that's a fun aspect of life too, sometimes, just to think about where you've come from, what all happened on the way. Because for me personally, I'm in a pretty good spot, so it's a little easier to approach the future and have a positive outlook on it. But at the same time, more so, it's easier to not worry about what's coming next, because your life just does what it does. And we can worry about it if we want to, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's just going to do what it does. And so I feel like that's another aspect of this album where it's kind of wrestling with that a bit, just letting life be life. That question, do I even exist? Good times. Good ride. Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. Take care. We'll see you soon.